Hello and welcome to the Palsy Podcast with me, Ciaran Fitzgerald. I'm a playwright, screenwriter and podcaster from South Wales, and seeing as March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, to mark it, I've decided to interview interesting people who have cerebral palsy from Wales and beyond every day in March. If you like this episode, please stay tuned for more throughout the month and like and share. Now enjoy this episode of the Palsy Podcast. I normally start with these and ask you what it was like growing up with CP, and was there a moment where you felt different or first felt different?
Can I just make a point before I start? Is that I actually had no idea that it was Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. So that makes me a terrible guest for this, but happy to be here regardless of that.
I mean, you know now,
I know
don't you?
that's the thing. I was like, God, I'm a terrible disabled person. I'm not even aware of my own month.
No, you got to
You get a
celebrate.
banner.
We don't get presents or anything. I don't
Jesus
think.
Christ, why am I here then?
I'll
I
pay
was,
you.
I was expecting a cash prize.
So what was it like growing up with
Growing
CP?
up, You, you know what? It was surprisingly fine. I actually have been working on this with my therapist recently. I actually I don't actually feel like I was brought up not knowing about my disability, but I definitely wasn't brought up as a disabled child, if that makes sense. Like not in a bad way or anything like that, but I definitely wasn't like completely aware of everything, and like I was really sporty and I just wanted to do everything that kind of uh, everyone else at school did. So I had a great childhood. I mean, I had loads of surgeries during that point. I had my first major one. I can't remember how old I was, maybe 5 or 6, maybe even a bit younger. That was tendon lengthening
Right.
on the both of my legs, which because I used to walk on my tiptoes,
Oh.
and that just brought everything back down. But that was my first kind of major surgery. Um, and then after that, I was sort of I think I became more aware of it as I got on older. I think the surgery was definitely a big part of that because it was like the thing that like it took me out of school. It meant I couldn't actually go out a break in my cast if it was raining. And I was really pissed off about that. I remember being like, why? And then but I think above all else, it was quite a positive childhood, to be honest. I don't really remember um, experiencing much kind of adversity when I was younger, but I think it was as I've gotten older and kind of it started to hit me a bit, I think. So yeah.
Did you experience much bullying in school or anything like that?
No, I didn't. I didn't really get bullied at school. No, our school was always really nice, and
That's good.
I don't actually remember there been anyone really getting any kind of bullying at our school, which is kind of a rarity, I know, considering that I grew up in Grimsby and Scunthorpe. You'd think it would be like the hot spot. Um, but it's funny because I remember my mum saying to me I applied to go to grammar school, but I obviously I'm not that clever. And
So
like
I
getting
think
into a
there's
grammar school are so stupid. But I remember I think my mum really wanted me to go to grammar school on the basis that my mum was like under the impression it was a nicer school and that I wouldn't get
right.
bullied. Um, and I ended up going to this massive school that everyone went to, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get like smacked up, and it's gonna be like horrendous. But it was great. No, I had a great school experience and great friends who were like really supportive, and so
I think the education system might be slightly different in England than it is in Wales. So
really,
grammar school,
yeah.
is that like a selective
Oh,
school
oh
that
yeah,
you
grammar
got?
school. Yeah, it's like it is a state school still, but it's a selective school. Yeah, it's like you've got to pass the 11 plus, and if you heard about
Right.
that,
So,
to get into it.
so did you take the 11 plus and
Yeah, I
do
took two 11 pluses, and um I bombed them completely. I was absolutely terrible. I missed off. I think it was like 20 marks that I missed off. And I remember one of the grammar schools that was like one of the ones that I wasn't really bothered about, that I didn't really want to go to. One of them because my mum asked if she could speak to the Senko, and she was like, and she kind of like looked at me and was like, oh, let's just cross that bridge if and when you get in. Like that, it was
Right.
that sort of vibe. And then when I went to the non-selective schools, which I ended up in, like actually going to the Senkos, was so good there. Was so good there.
Did you get a good level of support?
I mean, I've always been quite ambulant, in terms of kind of getting around and things like that. So I didn't need that much,
Mm.
to be honest. They managed to put a lift in one of the blocks that only went up one floor. Um,
How many floors were in this block?
two,
Okay.
two. So it went up to the first one, but apparently, like the reason they were able to get the lift is because I was there, because they got the funding for that, because I was there. So I
Oh.
was like, "You're welcome." And it wasn't even like a proper lift. It was one of them ones like you get in Sports Direct. They're like, it's like a Hannah Montana lift, as I call it, where you press the button the whole way through. And
We've got to
you
hold the
know,
button
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah. And it was always that I had to wait for someone to come and unlock it, and then I was always like 10 minutes late for lessons and stuff. But I won't
We,
complain about
we had one of those in uni, and
that.
when we were all in it, we used to sing Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Factory going.
I always sung it was Best of Both Worlds about Hannah Montana, and it just comes in the lift, and she's like, best, best, best. It was like that. But it was really fun. But no, I love school. Like my friends were really supportive. I remember when I was in like year like 9, 10, 11 is when I had like major surgeries. How I had foot reconstruction, um, on, on both my feet, and I had to get them done separately. And then I ended up having to have the last lot of it done all together because I had to have a revision surgery on one of them. Um, and like which meant for kind of months at a time I wasn't in lesson. I had to be in a place called the mentoring room, which is something I wrote a pilot about
Okay.
later on in life. But it was run by these couple of teachers who were great and really supportive, and they would bring me like chocolate and sweets in and stuff, and get me like a pillow and stuff, and they'd wheel me into class and stuff. I remember it was like exam period in year 11, and it was our French listening exam, and they were struggling to get me out of the door because there was like a lip on the door, like to get out of the back row, and we were like creasing laughing, like me and the teacher, but we obviously had to try and stay quiet, and we were like absolutely howling because we had to stay really quiet. We were like trying to like hold me out in this wheelchair, and it was yeah, it was great. But to answer your question, yeah, school was great. I had a really good support system at school, and honestly can't complain about school, to be honest.
I'm really glad to hear that. Like, so when did you start writing, and where did that passion for writing come from?
I actually mentioned the mentoring room. I mean, that was the first script I ever wrote, which actually got me onto WildChild scheme, which now we'll get into.
Okay.
Um, and I think when I left school, I think I missed it a bit because I moved. So I moved back to Scunthorpe, which is where I'm originally from, but I was at school in Grimsby. Um, and then I moved, and obviously everything was different. And when you're in college, you're kind of left to fend for yourself a bit because you're nearing kind of adulthood and kind of. I mean, I still got
Yeah.
support, but it's not as much because you're not in college every day, every hour of every day, are you?
No.
You're kind of in for specific lessons or whatever. Um, and then I think I missed school and I miss my mates, and I think obviously writing at that point, especially that script, was a way of kind of reminiscing. Me and my friends
Mm.
FaceTime when like and we'd read like our different parts because it's kind of semi-autobiographical as well. The main character's called Liv. Um,
Oh well,
and
I wonder
it's
why
called
that
Liv
is.
Woods. I mean, she's called Liv Woods. It's not really like different from anything else, but I think that was kind of my way of kind of reminiscing on that, and I wanted to write
Mm.
something that was because I always love like kind of sitcoms. Like I was like like kind of Victoria Wood. I remember at that point my granddad kind of introed me to her work, and that was really good. Like Dinner Ladies was a great inspiration behind that, and like the kind of how you can do something and make it really kind of hilarious all in one space. And the mentoring room just kind of seemed like a great place to kick that off because there was kind of we saw people and liking people who would come in for different reasons and like how that all worked in the teachers and stuff, and it was quite unorthodox at times and stuff, and I just thought that's great to write about, and that's what kind of kicked it all off, to be honest. So
Oh, when did you kind of think, oh, like I want to do this for a career, and how did that feed into going to uni and stuff like
well,
that?
yeah, it's quite funny because I was never going to go into film and TV. I was always really music orientated.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I was in a band for a few years with my cousin, And then when I left school, this was actually an interesting story actually, because when I was obviously in year 9, 10, 11, and it meant that I missed a load of school, and I did music GCSE at the time. But at the time, because music was like massively underfunded, and obviously it is still,
Yeah.
like across the country, our music GCSE lessons were for 2 hours after school on a Wednesday. It wasn't even in the timetable period. It was in period 7 and 8, which
Right.
was crazy. It was like sports time. And because obviously I had no dedicated support staff with me and stuff, I couldn't actually attend those lessons, which then meant that my teacher at the time, who I will say was a bit of a bitch, was I was at parents' evening, and it was devastating because it was her going to me like, "Oh, I think Liv needs to drop out of this class," and obviously music was the one thing that I was passionate about and wanted
Do
to do
you,
as a career.
do you think that was because of your disability?
Oh, it hands down was. Her exact words were pretty much like, "Oh, you've missed too much, obviously because of your surgery, and you can't catch up at this point." And that was I think that was honestly, when I look back at it, the first kind of like the real memory of it hitting me, that I was like, oh, things aren't always gonna kind of happen the way I want them to, and I'm gonna have to sacrifice stuff. And at that point, music was like it was my one thing. Um,
I can see the guitar
yeah,
behind you as we're
yeah,
filming
just
it.
got it in for a prep just to remind you all. I can do your sing song at the end if you want.
Do you still play? Because
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
that's something I would love to do, but I just
definitely.
haven't
You know
got
what? It's
the.
funny because oh, there's a pick there, just fell off my hand quite. Just in case you forgot. No, it's it's quite good actually, because in my left arm I'm weaker,
Right.
um, but it's actually helped my strength kind of building up.
Have you gained more dexterity
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
fingers and
definitely, because you
stuff?
got to do two things at once, and so
Which, yeah, which
yeah, it's
for
great.
like
Even just to, yeah, just play about with it's great.
neuroplasticity and
Mm.
stuff like that, training your hands to do
Yeah,
different things.
yeah,
That
yeah.
must be that's really impressive.
I
I'm
mean, I
really
started
impressed by
learning the piano, and then because I'm not a great sight reader, um, I just and it was kind of boring, the lessons, to be honest. I much preferred guitar. Um, and then obviously my cousins got into it, and then we started up a little band, which actually got quite all right, to be honest. And and then once I started that, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, is that kind of moment of her going, "You need to drop out of music." I
that.
was in tears.
I
Like
can imagine.
it was actually awful, because I was really upset, because my parents even used to go great for me because I was a great student. I was a
Yeah.
proper kid's ass at
Mhm.
school, and I was good at everything. But that been the one kind of thing that I was known for. Like every year I got the music award. I had, because
Yeah.
if you were sporty, you got a sporty tie, and if you did music, you got like a tie with music notes on it.
Okay.
And I had a music tie, and I was in all the jazz bands, all the recitals,
Yeah.
and 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 I think being told that was like a massive thing for me, that I couldn't do it. But then I went on to do it at A level. This is what I was talking about. I went on to do it at A level, and because I got quite high grades at GCSE, um, I was quite sciencey at the time for some reason.
Right.
Which I
You
look
can
back
do
and I think,
everything,
this
Liv.
is the
You
thing.
can
It's like,
do.
no, but now I'm just like, look, that I'm completely thick now, so it's arts isn't in my brain. Um, uh, no, but what was I saying?
You're
Uh,
talking about gender. If we maybe move it on a little bit,
yeah, yeah.
so by the time you came to like the end of school and going to uni,
Oh
what was
yeah.
that
How
process like?
how did I get into film and TV?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wasn't gonna do it. I was gonna do um I was gonna do a science course, and then because I was doing A level music, it overlapped with us having to be in jazz band and choir on a
Okay.
Thursday. So it meant for timetabling that I couldn't do it. And then the film studies teacher kind of lurked in the background and was like, "Oh, do you like English lit?" And I was like, "Yeah, 'cause I'm doing that as well." It was like, "Oh, well, if you like English lit, English lit, you can do that." And like you can do film studies, because he was trying to get people on the course because no one had done it in
Yeah.
the past. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." Um, And then I remember the first kind of like the term, I was like, this isn't a bit of me. We watched Pan's Labyrinth, which is a great film now when I look back, but at the time I was like, I want to watch like Toy Story, like something like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't in it, like I wasn't a film bro yet. And then it kind of got into making our own stuff and writing scripts in the second term and filming stuff. And I was like, oh yeah.
This is what
This is sort of a
you
bit of me, yeah. Because music was sort of, it's really hard at A level. And I was like, shit. Like, yeah, this is why I dropped it at school. Because it's really hard.
and then I go to uni. Where did you go? What did you? And what was that experience like moving away from home for the first time?
Yes, I was the 2020 class.
Oh mate,
I was them ones. Yeah. But no, I think at that point, because we'd all been stuck in,
yeah,
because I went to the University of York, I did a brand new degree, which was Business of the Creative Industries. That's what it's called. It's a very long title, very wanky title.
okay,
But it was kind of geared towards if you wanted to go into a career in producing or kind of like the commissioning side of things. And I think they were letting anyone on because there was a guy in my course who like hadn't passed his maths yet or something like that, and he got in. So I think they were kind of letting anyone in. And it kind of helped. Obviously, it was COVID, just no one got the grades they wanted, and stuff. But yeah, I had a great time at uni. It's where I met my best mate and business associate Meg.
Meg's brilliant.
It's like we were on the same degree course, in the same apartment, and in the same like college, which it just kind of meant it was fate really. And then obviously because it was COVID, we got stuck in with the student television, which we then went on to run in our last year. And then we just started making stuff together. Like it was like little comedy sketches on YouTube and stuff, which I won't go back and look at.
But it's like that embarrassing
quality as well. But it was like we had one with doing like a Steps music video. It was great actually because there was someone else in my apartment block that had CP as well, and we had the same surgeon.
Well, did that help with like settling into living away from home and being
I
more
think weirdly,
independent?
me and Darcy always joke about it now, but we I think when we first saw each other, we had that like a bit of a standoff sort of thing because she was in a wheelchair and we were kind of like it was like a Wild West sort of like you heard like that,
Yeah.
and it was like I've got what you've got, and you get, and but yeah,
there's only room for one cripple in this apartment block.
It kind of was that, yeah, it kind of was that, and then because I think at uni our block was the only ones that had accessible rooms or something. There was 2 or maybe 3 across like the whole of the campus, which is really bad when you think about it. But yeah, I was fine once I got settled in. I remember like having the initial like I emailed like, have I definitely got an accessible room and stuff like that? And they're like, yes. But I think that definitely helped us like having each other, and because she was doing the film like course.
Cool.
We kind of like we were kind of chatting about that and stuff like that, and stuff. But obviously Darcy was in her last year and I was in my first year. And there was that bit of it. I remember we were all outside singing the EastEnders theme song really loudly, and she was like, I'm trying to revise, guys, can you shut the fuck up? We were like, apologies.
Yeah, move on slightly. So, like, I'm gonna move on a bit. So after uni, like, you were part of the 4 skills Paralympic Training Programme scheme.
Yeah.
How did that come about? What was that like?
Well, at uni, I never stopped. I was always making stuff. I was always on placement. I did a bit on like Emmerdale and stuff like that, and obviously like with WildChild and stuff. So I just applied. I remember I was maybe doing my dissertation. I saw this like the 4 skills thing had popped up on Facebook, and it was like only open to candidates with a disability. And I remember thinking, if I don't at least get an interview for this scheme, I'm completely fucked. There's no point in me even trying. Because
You've got to take advantage of tokenism when you come across it, I
you
reckon.
really do, and it's honestly like it's a great scheme to get involved with. Four Skills and Think Bigger who do it. Edie who runs it is is great, um, and really kind of understands kind of what it's like, and will like Cameron will always kind of fight your corner where she can in terms of accessibility and getting you those experiences and that. Um, I'm in those contexts, but that was a great scheme. Basically, what it was, to give a bit of context for the scheme, I think in Aya there was maybe like 8 to 10 production companies, maybe a bit less, including Whisper, who were doing the Paralympics at the time.
Okay.
So people,
They're a Welsh company, aren't
yeah,
they?
yeah, I think they have an office in Wales. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. In Cardiff, I think. Um, so people who worked for that company got to work in the Paralympics. But yeah, that was really cool. So I worked at a company called Red Source, which was an unscripted company. Because also, like, I know it was unscripted, and I was always scripted minded, but I was also very conscious. Obviously, this might be the only job that I could get straight out of uni.
Hmm.
Um, and I applied. I mean, like I did a bit of research about Red Source, and they had made like Bagman and Brits in the Sun and a few other bits. They were quite a new company still.
Right.
And I kind of blagged the application a bit. Well, not blagged it, but I was kind of like just like I'd love to work here. Do you know what I mean? Like, and just kind of
I
doing it.
love Biden Loving Brits in the Sun.
Yeah,
I
I was like,
watch it
that is
every
such
day.
a clever show. My nan loves it. I love Benny Dom. It's great. But then I remember I was on because I applied for 2 companies, which they've now changed. You can only apply for one company because they would get people that apply for like all of the companies and just sort of hope for the
Yeah.
best, which is just never the way to do it. If that's any advice I can give, never kind of. I think if you're going to apply to anything that has a mass like applicant, just kind of like own your own sort of thing and kind of like just trying to hammer it in on doing one really good application. But yeah, I applied to Red Source. I was on holiday when I got the email being like, you've been selected to have an interview. And I was like, oh my God, like this is it, this is it. And then I had to go to like a I think it was a pre-interview Zoom. I was on holiday still. And yeah, within the month I was heading to Manchester to interview, and then like I kind of sort of like knew it had gone well because like I didn't
Mm.
stop talking during that interview. Like I pitched them a show, and like they didn't ask me to do that. Like
Wow.
I was like, I'm gonna put my puss into whatever this is. Like, um, and I think at the time because I was younger and I was kind of like. I probably won't get it because it's such a competitive scheme because they drilled into us like at the start this is really competitive. There's about 100 people on this like I'm on this Zoom, and there was a few candidates interviewing that day, and I was the last one. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was sort of like, it could either go either way. I can either knock the socks off, or or they're going to be so kind of tired of hearing everyone's spiel that it's going to be like, crack on, mate. But then I got there, and the guy who owns the company, Tom, was a Scouser. And I just hazarded a guess. I was like, like at the end of the interview, I was like, oh, are you a Liverpool fan? Because I am as well. And he went, yeah, are you? And I went, yeah, mate, who do you think it's going to win? And he was like, oh, I've got a bet on Liverpool winning, but it could be Arsenal. And I was like, oh, yeah, I had no idea at the time he was in the lead. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I mean, it could be us. And then I think I think it kind of sealed the deal.
Getting those little connections with people, personal connections,
Yeah,
that's
and that's something that I've
important.
learned. I think off Ollie, to be honest, Ollie Lansley.
Yeah.
Because he's a talker, isn't he? And he will
Mm.
make it personal to everyone. I think that was what like he taught me as well as whoever you're speaking to, just try and obviously get on their level and read the room. Um,
Let's talk about that then.
yeah,
Let's talk about the WriteWild mentoring scheme, which
yeah,
we've both done. You did it the
yeah,
year after me.
yeah,
I don't know, same as you, but I just was randomly scrolling through Twitter one day and I
yeah.
came across, oh, mentoring scheme for underrepresented writers. I'll go for that. But it's the best thing that I've done in terms of my writing career. I don't know how you found it. What was your experience?
it
Like,
completely kickstarted my career. I don't think I would have got that Channel 4 job if it wasn't for that scheme, because like it really got us a foot in the door, didn't it? It really
yeah,
kind of it gave us that exposure to get something on the CV, because I got to be, or our cohort got to be in the Bad Education reboot writers room.
yes, that
So
was really exciting. I was quite jealous that
obviously
you
that was
got to
something
do
for the
that. That's
CV. Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
It was really cool. Like they put us up in a travel lodge near King's Cross, and it felt very glamorous. Um, but yeah, that was great. Honestly, like, and I think just having the sense of like the community aspect to it as well. Um, it was always something that I kind of enjoyed. And then after that, when I got on schemes, like I think that obviously, like I mean, like that scheme helped me get on Emmerdale,
Mm,
um, on Emmerdale, which was like it was like work experience off the back of another Screen Yorkshire scheme that I was on. And then obviously the Paris schemes. I think I was a bit of queen of schemes at that point because I'd done that many, but that scheme was phenomenal in terms of what it taught you.
oh, what did you learn and like how did it improve your writing, do you think?
I think it just sort of, I think one, it helped me to kind of figure out that there's kind of no right and wrong kind of way of doing it. Because I think when you're at school or when you're at college and there's all these lecturers who have been there, done that sort of thing, and go, this is how you should write a screenplay, and if it's not got this, this, and this, it's
Mm,
shit. Whereas I think, like, like, obviously on the scheme you get, um, I'm like given, uh, I'm like someone's like script to read every week, and you've got to write plays, you've got to write film, you've got to write TV, you've got to write shorts.
yeah.
Um, it's such a like a crash course in how
And
to do
it's
it.
really
Just
intense, isn't it?
really intense, really intense.
I don't know if the deadlines were like this or you did it, but we were like, oh, you've got to have the first draft of the play in a week.
Yeah,
And
they
we
weren't
did,
quite as strict with us, I think. They were very much like at the start, they were like, look, we're not like it's homework, but we're not going to hold you to it. Like,
right.
it's up to you to make the best out of this experience. And that's what I think on those sort of schemes, you've really got to, like, because obviously they're so competitive. I think Ollie was saying to me after it, there was like over 500 people applied for that scheme that year in my year,
Wow.
something like that. It was my, and that could be give or take a few, but it was quite competitive that year because we were like the second year. Because I heard about it through Ciaran Jones, because I'm a big Ciaran Jones fan, and she'd posted it
Okay.
on her thing because she was one of like the supporters of the scheme, and I
Yes,
was,
she was,
and
yeah.
and I literally applied with a minute to spare on the deadline because they were like, "That's a recorded video," and I was like, "Hi, I'm Liv Woodward, and I'm gonna do this," and I was like watching it upload, trying to Google
Mm.
form for like, I was like, "Come on, hurry up," and then it got submitted, and then obviously we heard back. But I remember getting uh, that email from Anne Marie about obviously been selected, and that was one of those kind of pinch moments. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of the beginning."
I
It did feel like the beginning or something.
I felt the same. It's the best thing I've done for my
Yeah,
career. Like I wouldn't have written for telly without
yeah,
WildChild. I wouldn't be able to pitch to these telly companies without
yeah,
WildChild. I wouldn't have met all these really cool other writers like
yeah.
yourself. I'll mention some other names: Tabby Lamb, Florence
Tabby, yeah, I love Tabby.
Nicholas.
Yeah,
Um, these really cool people, and you learn from other people's writing as well.
yeah.
You learn
And
through.
it's such a range of ages because I remember I was the youngest there. I want to say that I was maybe like 19, 20 when I got on this. So I was
Wow.
like the baby. Um, and I mean, there was me and there was Beth Westbrook, who I think was maybe my age now, so maybe 20, 23, maybe a bit older, 24 maybe. I mean her babies, but obviously Beth had been writing for theatre for years and
Mm,
stuff. And I really felt like the imposter because I mean, like they kind of have everyone on the same level. And that's the good thing about it is that
yeah.
everyone comes in having their own experiences and having like kind of some experience and like other bits and stuff. But yeah, it was great. And I think the most important thing that I took from that scheme was like not in like I'm in like a Debbie Downer way, but it was like this is how the industry is.
Yeah, because I didn't know how it worked before
It's like
that
you're not going to
scheme.
write a script and send it to a producer and they're going to go, here's £1 million.
We're
make it.
gonna put this on BBC Two
Yeah, we're gonna put
tomorrow.
some BBC tomorrow. We're shooting in an hour's time. Your trailer's ready. Your BAFTA's on the way.
Yeah.
Um, and sort of like how to pitch as well, and how to pitch yourself, and kind
Mm.
kind of figuring yourself out. And like, I mean,
Selling
that was great.
yourself as a writer rather than selling an
Yeah,
idea. I learned a lot from that. That was really
yeah,
important for me.
yeah.
But also like the experience of being able to pitch to people like
Oh, that's insane. That
kinda
experience is something that you never get. It's like an
no.
intense. I mean, for like anyone who like wants an insight into what this game is like, I don't know if it was the same for you, but it was an intense 2 or 3 weeks of like
Yeah.
2 pitches a day to like Sky Comedy, Merman, Tiger Aspects.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
like it's intense, and by the end of it, you know your script off like that, and you sort of you go into it
It
like bish bash bosh. But
becomes
the first one, you sort of like, I wore a suit to the first one, like.
were
I mean, it was
yours
on
in
Zoom.
person or were
No,
yours
it was
on
on
Zoom?
Zoom. It was on Zoom,
Same.
but I wore a
Yeah.
suit to it still to kind of do it. But it was extremely sweaty. But
It's nerve-wracking though. Like
oh,
having
it's
to talk about
amazing.
your idea.
Yeah. Well, like as well, because you've only got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, because I mean, like because obviously what I do now, I'm like with work, when we're in like a pitch meeting and stuff, or like a development meeting, these things can go on for like an hour and a half.
And like having a disability which affects your speech. Like were you self-conscious
Oh yeah, because
of
mine
that?
stutter comes out when I'm nervous or when I'm reading. That's when it comes out. Like when I was at school, I could never read anything out. Like like in like English when you've got to read out a section of the book or something. I could never do that because I just couldn't. It got that bad that I couldn't even say my name in the register. Um,
Yeah.
because of the nerves. So obviously that was a thing. And then what I found was like the way I coped with it, or like kind of did it head on, was I just kind of addressed it at the start of the pitch meetings and said, "Look, I've got a stutter. I call it miss impediment, and he actually might make an appearance at some point during this meeting." Um, and I mean, I think me breaking that ice in kind of a comedic way, obviously, because I was trying to sell a comedy script. It kind of like it gave them a sense of who I was as well. And
Lightens.
then, yeah, it
And
kind of,
is
you
is
know,
is your stutter like related to your CP or is it
yeah, they
separate?
can't figure that one out. They can't figure that one out. It apparently it came about after my first surgery, and I've read up on it since, and sometimes anaesthetic can kind
Oh
of
yeah.
and stuff. But I mean, the body's weird and wonderful, isn't it? I think it can, but I don't think it's as such related. But I think it's more of an anxiety-driven thing these
Yeah.
days. Um, but yeah,
I wanna talk to you about Pitch Deck.
yeah.
So you founded Pitchdeck Productions.
Hmm.
How did you decide? I think it's amazing that you founded a company and you're younger than me and you've done so much. I mean, all of you
Yeah, I need like a nap really. Me and Meg both do because we
have.
work full time. I will blanket this and say that after our networking event, we actually haven't done anything else with it yet. Um,
So
but our plan is still there for the future.
what is Pitchdeck?
Oh, so picture, yeah. We set it up after uni. Me, and my friend Meg, who we've worked together. We produced stuff together. We did a big documentary at uni, and then after that, we always wanted to do some. I got some stuff together, like whether it be short films, whatever. Um, but then, so essentially, it's a production company. But then after uni, because I did my dissertation on how we can break down the barriers of entry for emerging screenwriters in the UK. How it was a report called The Big Book,
Yeah.
because obviously everyone gets a butt in pitch meetings, and I was like, oh, it's the big butt. And then how I got offered a grant, which is basically like a bit of an underspend on a project, which my project supervisor was doing at the time, and he said, I've got some money left over. Would you like it to host an event of some kind
Hmm.
related to the big butt? It can be whatever you want. And I was like, yeah. Um, and now me and Meg, we're not events people, we're producers at heart. We're not events producers because that's a different kettle of fish. Um, but, uh, but then after that, we really wanted to look at kind of kind of the findings of the reports and who we could connect with. Like it had to be held in Yorkshire because of the funding.
Yeah.
Um,
Which was annoying for me, but I
which was
understand.
annoying for you. I'll get to that, but I was going to say, yeah, you came along and spoke at the event with Tabby and Chloe as well, who Ike is a WildChild alum, which was great. We had a great day. And then we set up this networking event that was as accessible and as inclusive and as interactive as it possibly could be. Because what I found in networking events is that they weren't accessible. It was always an afterthought. Like no one had thought like, oh, the lifts aren't working in this venue, and people who are neurodiverse aren't going to cope in this really tiny room with all these producers who don't want to speak to them.
And also chairs. So often
Yes.
networking events have stood up. So I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you had
Well, we made
chairs.
everyone sit down, didn't we? We were like,
Yeah,
you have to sit down for this because that was the thing with me. It's like, because I can stand up unaided as long as I'm like near something or leaning near something. Because
same, yeah.
like especially if you're holding a drink and like producers and agents don't really get that and they just want to like stand in the middle of a room with like nothing there. And I've always been kind of wobbling about like, oh yeah, can we go over here a little bit and then like that. But then now I've kind of learned to just say, right, I'm going to sit down, so you come with me or whatever. But I mean, that was a big thing for me because I've been to these horrendous networking events that just, again, like I said, aren't accessible. And we held this like section of the day in which it was called speed networking, and it was two to a table, and everyone got to sit down and kind of go round everyone, and you had kind of what was it like 2 or 3 minutes with each person.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to know them, but there was no kind of hierarchy there. It was no like, oh, I'm this person. You can't speak to me until you've got X amount of credits, so you've got this, and this. It was, everyone. We kind of wanted to eliminate that element of hierarchy because it's scary.
It is. It is.
Terrifying. No matter whether you've been a producer for 6 years or whether you've been come on, whether you're starting out, it's terrifying. But just to do it in a more of like an informal setting,
Relaxed, right?
yeah, it was really good. And you did I'm a talk. We did some talks throughout the day with like New Writing North and some Northern writers, and then obviously you guys. We had a Screen Yorkshire session. Which had like an idea generator, and you got to kind of generate some ideas and have like a
Right.
brainstorming session.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
So,
It's just a bit more enjoyable.
mm.
Uh,
And networking, they should be fun, they should be enjoyable. I had a
yeah,
great time.
yeah.
It was worth
It
the
was
eight
worth the
hour
journey.
worth the 8 hour round
You know
trip.
what? I can't thank you enough for doing that because not many people would have done that. And the fact that you were like, "Yeah, we'll drive all the way down," I was like, "You really don't have to." I was like,
Me and Reese had a laugh. We had a really good
yeah,
time. Me and Reese both
yeah.
enjoyed
But no,
it.
but it was. I think. I think again that's a testament to the power that those schemes like
Mm,
WildChild hold. Is that you create these kind of friendships and relationships, working ones or kind of informal friendships, are going to last a lifetime. And then when I messaged like Tabby and you, for example, and Flo, it was like it's like immediately they were like, and you guys were like, yeah, of course we'll come down.
yes, like
Amazing.
we haven't had a proper verbal conversation for over a year, I'd
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yet we've jumped on this Zoom, and it's like we were together yesterday. Like you
Oh, of
formed
course. Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah. You
close.
do.
Well,
You do. Because you've gone through the same. It's almost it's not trauma bonding because it isn't a traumatic experience. But I think when you're all going through something together, it's like that, isn't it? Because you're all
yeah.
experiencing the same stuff and everything like that. And it was really cool.
What's the future for pitch deck
We don't
productions?
know. Honestly, that's the question at the minute. We don't know. We want to do. Um, I spoke to Meg the other day. We want to do another big book, which I just don't know when because obviously
Right.
like it was the thing with the first one is that we got it handed to us pretty much on a plate. The money was just handed to us. It was said, here you go. And now if we wanted to do another one, we kind of know how much it would cost, and it probably cost a bit more. Um, because we did do it kind of scraping the barrel. Like no one on our team got paid for that work. We had a team of student volunteers. Like no one on our team got paid. Um, and yeah, but obviously we want to do that again because I think everyone should be paid for any amount of work they do, especially in the arts. So it's a process of kind of sitting down and writing those grant applications, which obviously, as you know, is like playwright and stuff, grant applications and like things like Arts Council,
But
very hard to come by.
do Arts Council England offer support to disabled artists to write applications? Because Arts Council Wales do.
You know what?
So,
It's not something that I've particularly looked into. Like, this is the thing. Like, I'm quite naive to like, like whenever we have a conversation, you always go, "Oh, have you looked at this? Because you get funded for this." And when I was on the Channel 4 scheme, they were like, "Oh, you get reduced council tax if you say you're disabled." And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Yeah."
You've got to take advantage of this stuff, Liv. You
I
really
wanted
have.
to try and get a free Metrolink card the other day, but because my PIP certificate was registered to an old address, they were like, "Oh, we can't give you it because it's not a Manchester address." And I was like, "Well, like obviously because it was years ago,
Yeah.
and I am definitely not going to ring up PIP and try and get
Don't
a
touch that.
touch that."
If you're still getting your
I
PIP,
am not gonna.
yeah.
I'm not gonna ring the alarm bells. I've already told them that I've moved addresses and they are fine with that. So
I mean, I can confirm that Liv does have cerebral palsy, and that's
can
why
confirm.
she's on.
And epilepsy now. Actually, so I've got another thing. Thank
Congratulations.
you. I've got another tick on the box. Um, yeah.
It's been really fun to catch up.
Yeah, and
Thank
you, mate.
you.
We should have a more like informal catch up at some point. Definitely give me a
Definitely.
more.
Last question then. What
Go
is
on.
one thing that you wish people knew about CP?
I think that not everyone has the same experience, and like it's such a vast and varied condition,
Yeah.
and that it affects people in very different ways. Like it's like there's always this thing. Like I remember having a conversation with people being like, "Oh, but you don't look disabled," and I'm like, "Okay, well let me just get back in my wheelchair and my hospital gown." Like, no,
Mm.
it isn't like that with everyone, and I
And
think
it
there needs to be, yeah.
looks different on different days as well. We have good
100%.
days
This
and
is the
bad
thing.
days.
It's like going back to the PIP thing as well. You kind of got to sell it as if it's your worst day. Because if I have a bad day, it means I ain't getting out of bed for 2 days because I'm in agony. But I think just if everyone, um, I think it needs to get rid of this kind of generalization of people with CP
Mm.
because everyone has different experiences and listening to people with CP as well. Like, and don't
Yeah.
assume, like with any disability, I think, please don't assume. I mean, often people's hearts are in the right places, but I think just asking the questions, it's not offensive. It's not. It might be uncomfortable on them to ask the questions, but we would rather be, or especially on my point of view, I would rather be asked about adjustments that are needed or
Yeah.
my kind of needs, and rather than just try and assume and guess because it's often wrong.
I completely agree. And talking to us rather than the person with us, like
Yeah,
we
and like
feel.
stop it with like desk research. Just like ask us. Do you know what I mean? Like some
Yeah.
I'm like chat GPT and things. Just like ask us questions. Um, uh, yeah, ask us what we need because like all of us are a lovely bunch. We're all in a WhatsApp chat.
After everyone with CP knows each other, which is why
I think
I've got to
it's
go.
it's similar to lesbians because there is like a CP web and we call it the lesbian web. It is like the equivalent of that.
You can say that. I can't.
Yeah. As a lesbian, that's another thing as well. So I'm gay, I'm disabled, I'm northern. So that's just, and I'm a woman,
Your biggest disability is being northern, in
is
my
my
opinion.
accent. Yeah, it really is. It really
Liv,
is.
this has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh,
Thank
cheers,
you
mate. And
so
congrats on
much.
all this. This is so great what you're doing.
Well, you're congratulating me now. I've got to get to the rest of the month without missing a day.
Well, you know what? I'll check back in at the end of the month, and then I can be your last guest and just give you a clap for the end of it.
Thank
Or
you.
you can, or you can, or you can edit this in at the end.
That's just about it for this episode of the Palsy Podcast. Thank you so much to Liv Woodward for joining me. It's been so much to have a catch up, mate.
This time.
Tomorrow I'm going to be joined by David Smith, who is a Paralympic bocce champion. So we're going to be talking about the sport of bocce. If you don't know what bocce is, tune in tomorrow where you find out from David what it is and his career as a bocce player. But for now, it's bye from me and goodbye from Liv.
Cheers, Ciaran.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Palsy Podcast with me, Ciaran Fitzgerald. I want to thank my guests for joining me, and I hope that you'll stay tuned for the next episode and more throughout March. Thank you.